You mentioned the women's sports and really trying to reimagine, as you said, I think is the word. Tell me more about Re-Inc.
Yeah, so it started again. I'm OG, so the 7 of the 23 in 2015 were UNC players, so they wanted to invite their OG friend that they knew through the women's soccer program at UNC to help, and they wanted to talk about this fight for fair pay. And I didn't call it equal pay; I called it fair pay. Maybe you should get
Hmm.
paid more than the guys. Now you should be treated equally, but
Hmm.
paid fairly. So I was that guy, including ultimately saying, "Have you thought about starting a company where it's not a bunch of other people deciding what you're worth or whether it's going to be value in what you're doing? No, go start it, and the world gets to decide." So I was that person, but it turns out ultimately, and going back to consulting firms, I ended up suggesting that they get the data from U.S. Soccer and ultimately decide whether they were being treated fairly. And by the
Hmm.
way, it turns out they weren't
Hmm.
from a pay perspective, from the way they traveled, from the way they stayed, from the way they were treated. They were not, and by the way, the data was compelling, and it came from a venture firm, but also a consulting firm that did the work for us for free and dug into it. And ultimately, by the way, several years later in 2022, they signed a equal pay, getting paid fairly, in this case, equal to the men, but it was a $24 million back pay as well. And it also was a commitment going forward that you're getting paid equal to the men in prize money. And by the way, you both fly in the same kind of airplanes, you stay in the same kind of hotels, you have roommates or you don't. You have the same kind of natural grass, you have the same kind of healthcare advantage. You are being treated both equally and fairly. And then all of a sudden, as part of that, they said, well, maybe we should start this company. And I had just started this company, Carbon, at that particular point. Again, their OG friend from UNC, since so many were on the national team. And we decided to start this company called Re-Inc., which we said was to reimagine the status quo. We didn't know what it was going to be, but let my friends decide what it should be. And then my older friend, meaning me, I'm going to do anything I can to try to help them. And here we are, raise money from, gosh, amazing folks in the world that you live in. I think we have 100 million views of what they're doing. They've created this podcast, Reset the Table, and the recap show with some of those famous players, talking about women's sports from a women's sports perspective. So it's not talking about it from a guy's perspective, but talking about it from gal and gal culture, they would even say.
Yeah.
And I just been the guy that's seen the movie before and tried to help them any way I can. So I've been a co-founder from moment one and still involved, some 7 years later.